All right, let's talk about that space a man steps into when he starts feeling empty, when the love run out, when he stopped believing in something pure, something that used to make him move different. That's when the void creep in. Quiet, patient, heavy. It don't hit you all at once. It builds up over time. You stop reaching out, stop trusting, stop letting anybody close enough to see who you really are. You start thinking strength means silence. That pain is just another part of manhood. But that's where most brothers lose themselves, confusing numbness with power. See, a man without purpose is like a car with no engine. You can have the paint, the rims, the shine, but you ain't going nowhere. When love leaves your heart, purpose fades right behind it. You start chasing distractions, money, validation, quick thrills, anything that make you feel alive for a second. You tell yourself you're focused, but really you're just running from something inside. You build your empire, but your soul be starving. You post your wins, but your nights stay quiet. It's not about the woman, not really. It's about what love taught you before it left. Love shows a man patience, empathy, responsibility. It forces him to be accountable, to show up, to care about something beyond himself. When that disappears, the discipline starts to die too. You start moving off impulse instead of vision. You start calling every wall boundary when in reality, it's just fear dressed up like wisdom. But here's the real: pain was never supposed to be your purpose. Pain is a teacher, not a home. Some men get stuck there living in defense mode, too scared to feel, too proud to heal. You start thinking the world owes you for your suffering. You walk around like you're unbreakable, but deep down you're just tired. Tired of proving, tired of pretending, tired of being the strong one when you never got the chance to just be. And that's where the shift gotta happen. You gotta look in that mirror and ask, what am I building this life for? If your grind ain't connected to your heart, then it's just noise. Because purpose ain't born from pain, it's born from what you choose to do after the pain. Some brothers let the heartbreak define them, others let it refine them. You can't control who hurt you, but you can control what you build out of that hurt. You wanna know the truth? Real power comes from peace, not from control, not from fear, not from shutting people out. When you love yourself enough to stop chasing what broke you, you start attracting what builds you. That's when you move different, quieter, but deeper. You stop explaining your worth to people who never deserved your presence. You start seeing that the void was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to show you where the light needed to be. Purpose is when a man wakes up knowing he got something to give that don't come with conditions. Is when he stops letting his pain speak for him and starts letting his growth do the talking. You start showing love not because you need it back, but because it's who you are. That's when the void begins to fade. Every real man hits that crossroad at some point. Do you let your pain own you, or do you let it push you towards something bigger? The ones who rise don't do it because they avoided the pain. They did it because they faced it head on. They found strength in understanding, not in denial. They learned that loving again don't make you weak, it make you free. So don't give up on love, homie. Don't give up on that energy that makes you feel. Because once you lose that, you stop creating, you stop dreaming, you stop becoming. Let the pain shape you, not shut you down. Let it teach you how to love yourself first, how to build something that don't collapse when somebody walks away. That's how you fill that masculine void, not with revenge, not with pride, but with purpose. And when you find that purpose, you move through the world different. You stop surviving and start living. You stop talking about loyalty and start being it. You stop asking for peace and start embodying it. That's the real evolution. That's the moment a man becomes whole again. It's crazy how trust can break a man. Not just his heart, his rhythm, his peace, his whole way of seeing the world. When somebody you believed in flips on you, it don't just hurt, it rewires you. It changes how you breathe, how you speak, how close you let people get. You start walking through life with your fists up, even when nobody's fighting you. That's what happens when trust breaks. The soul starts building walls where bridges used to be. Most men don't even notice it at first. They just tell themselves, I'm good, I don't need nobody. But underneath that, something shifts. You stop laughing the same. You stop giving people the benefit of the doubt. You start assuming everyone's got an angle. That's how the hardening begins, not overnight, but little by little. The more you get played, the less you feel. The less you feel, the colder you move. Before you know it, you ain't even living anymore. You're just surviving. That's the danger of betrayal. It don't just make you doubt other people, it makes you doubt yourself. You start questioning your own judgment. How I ain't see it coming? How I let that happen to me? Those thoughts eat at you. You start believing being open was your mistake, like caring too much made you weak. So you armor up. You stop showing emotion. You become that man that everybody respects, but nobody really knows. And I get it, the world can be ruthless. You give love, people take advantage. You stay loyal, people switch sides. You show vulnerability, people call it weakness. But here's the flip. When you close your heart to protect it, you also close it from healing. You can't grow while you're guarded. You can't connect while you're hiding behind that toughness. That hardened soul might look strong, but it's tired. Tired of pretending it's above feeling. Tired of watching everybody move on while you stuck replaying the same pain. That's the silent war most men fight between wanting to be open and being scared to be hurt again. Between the urge to trust and the instinct to protect. And somewhere in that battle, a lot of brothers lose themselves. They start chasing distractions to fill the space where trust used to live. They drown in work, in women, in pride, and anything that keeps them from sitting still long enough to feel. Because feeling means facing it, and facing it means admitting that something broke you. But listen, acknowledging your pain don't make you soft. It make you real. It means you still human under all that armor. The truth is, every man who's been hurt got two choices. Stay hard or stay honest. The hard ones move like stone, unbreakable, untouchable, but also unreachable. The honest ones, they rebuild. They take their scars and turn them into structure. They don't hide from what happened. They learn from it. They let it sharpen their vision instead of poison their spirit. Because when you heal that broken trust, you start seeing who's real around you. You learn to read energy instead of words. You start moving with discernment, not fear. You realize not everybody's out to hurt you. Some people are sent to help you remember what love feels like. That's growth right there. When you stop letting the pain define your character, when you start letting peace define your presence, you can't be at war with everybody forever, especially not with yourself. Sometimes you gotta drop the weight and say, I ain't carrying this no more. Because forgiveness ain't about them, it's about freeing your soul from the cycle. Can't build a kingdom with a broken foundation. Trust that foundation in people, in yourself, and life. When you rebuild it, you move with more purpose, more clarity. You stop seeing love as a risk and start seeing it as a reward. And that's when the hard shell starts to crack. Not because you got soft, but because you finally got real. Every scar tells a story, but it don't gotta tell your future. Don't let broken trust turn you bitter. Let it turn you better. Let it make you wiser about who you give your energy to. But never let it make you afraid to give it at all. Because the strongest man ain't the one who never got hurt. It's the one who learned how to love again after he did. That's the real power. Not the coldness, not the silence, not the distance. The power is in healing. The power is in being open again when the world told you to shut down. You ain't weak for caring, you weak for letting pain stop you from living. So take that armor off, brother. You've been fighting ghosts long enough. It's time to let your soul breathe again. When a man loses balance, he starts losing himself piece by piece. It don't happen loud, it's a quiet slide. One day you wake up and realize you've been running off fumes, chasing everything outside yourself just to avoid what's happening inside. You think you're in control, but truth is you're off center. That's the collapse when your grind starts replacing your peace, when your pride starts speaking louder than your purpose. These balance is what keeps a man grounded. It's what keeps him human while he's building his empire. But when love disappears, when connection fades, that balance goes with it. You stop hearing your inner voice. You stop moving with intention. You start chasing validation, money, attention, anything that make you feel like you still matter. And the world will clap for that. They'll call it hustle, ambition, focus. But deep down, you know it's survival. You ain't chasing dreams no more. You're running from emptiness. That's the dangerous part of the void. When you forget why you started, you start fighting battles that don't even belong to you. You get addicted to noise, constant motion, constant proving. You tell yourself you're good because your phone blowing up, your name getting mentioned, your account growing. But when the lights go off and it's just you and your thoughts, it's quiet, too quiet, because balance ain't in your hands no more, it's gone. Every man needs both energy and peace. The grind feeds one, love feeds the other. When love disappears, you lean too heavy on the grind, and that's when the cracks start showing. You lose patience, you lose empathy, you lose the softness that makes strength meaningful. You start treating people like business, not blessings. You start measuring life in wins and losses instead of lessons and growth. That's when ego takes the driver's seat, and ego don't know how to slow down. It only knows how to crash. A lot of men confuse discipline with detachment. They think staying cold keeps them focused, but focus without feeling ain't purpose, it's punishment. You can't build a full life on half your emotions. You can't call it peace if you're just numb. The world already cold enough, you don't gotta match it. You gotta balance it. The truth is, balance don't come from outside. It comes from alignment. Your heart, your mind, your actions all moving in the same direction. When those three ain't connected, you start slipping. You start giving too much energy to things that drain you and not enough to things that feed you. You start mistaking noise for progress. That's how a man burns out, not because he's weak, but because he forgot to recharge where it mattered most. Sometimes balance look like stepping back, like sitting in silence and asking yourself what really matters, like realizing success don't mean nothing if your soul's starving. Like understanding peace ain't the absence of problems, it's the ability to stay centered while you face them. The collapse don't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's just losing interest in the things that used to light you up. Sometimes it's snapping on people who don't deserve it. Sometimes it's isolating because being alone feels safer than being misunderstood. And in that loneliness, you tell yourself you're protecting your energy, but really you're avoiding your truth. The fix ain't out there, it's in here. You gotta find that middle ground again, where your heart and your hustle coexist. You gotta let go of the idea that being strong means being disconnected. Real strength is balance. It's knowing when to push and when to pause. It's understanding that love and ambition ain't enemies, they feed each other. When a man gets that balance back, his whole aura changes. He moves with calm confidence. He don't need validation, he don't chase chaos. His decisions come from peace, not pressure. He knows who he is, and that's something no loss can take. That's when life starts feeling aligned again. Not because it's perfect, but because he's present. So don't let the world trick you into thinking balance is weakness. It's the highest form of strength. It's what keeps your spirit alive when everything around you trying to harden it. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't lead from a broken soul. Keep your grind, but protect your peace. Keep your focus, but don't lose your heart. Because the real victory ain't in the money, the fame, or the followers. It's in being able to look in the mirror and know you didn't lose yourself in the process. That's what balance really means. Somewhere along the way, the bond between men started fading. What used to be brotherhood turned into competition, envy and silence. We stopped building each other up and started comparing wins. We used to move like a unit, protect one another, keep each other grounded. Now most men move solo, acting like they don't need nobody. But the truth is, the world been colder since that connection broke. That brotherhood used to be our armor, our balance, our reminder that we ain't got to carry everything alone. When men give up on love, they don't just lose women, they lose brotherhood too. Because love teaches you empathy, and empathy is the foundation of brotherhood. When your heart closes off, your world does too. You start seeing every man as a rival, every friend as a threat. You stop trusting people's intentions, and you start assuming everybody out to get something from you. That's how the circle breaks, not because we fell out, but because we stopped letting each other in. Back in the day, men had codes. Lawyers meant something. If one brother was struggling, the rest lifted him up. We talked less about image and more about integrity. Now too many of us got pride where the love used to be. We'd rather post our success than share our pain. We'd rather look strong than be honest. But that's why so many men walking around broken, not because they're weak, but because they're alone. Real brotherhood ain't about who's the loudest or who got the biggest bag. It's about who shows up when the world go quiet. It's about being able to call your brother and say, I'm not good, and not be judged for it. It's about accountability, telling each other the truth even when it stings. Somewhere along the way, we lost that. We let ego replace honesty. We started celebrating distance like it was discipline. But isolation don't make you real. It just makes you unreachable. And that's what's killing men silently, that lack of real connection. We so used to being strong that we forgot how to be supported. We so used to carrying weight that we forgot how to be held. Everybody screaming, trust nobody, but that mindset just builds more walls around already wounded hearts. We don't need less trust, we need stronger circles. We need brothers who remind us who we are when we start losing sight of it. But brotherhood ain't soft, it's sacred. It's the thing that keeps a man steady when the world trying to pull him apart. It's checking your boy when he's slipping, praying for him when he lost, celebrating him when he wins. It's knowing that another man's shine don't dim yours. It's realizing that if one of us make it, we all got a better chance. When men stop loving, stop feeling, They forget how to connect. They replace community with control, brotherhood with business, friendship with formality. They stop showing love and start showing off. But deep down, that ain't fulfillment. That's fear. Because love takes vulnerability. And most men been taught that vulnerability is a weakness. But it's not. It's what builds trust. It's what turns strangers into brothers. We got to get back to that. Back to looking each other in the eye and saying, I got you. Back to guiding the young ones instead of judging them. Back to helping each other heal instead of pretending we already are. That's how we rebuild what's been lost. One conversation, one act of loyalty, one moment of realness at a time. Because when men move together, we unstoppable. We build nations, families, movements. But when we divide it, we crumble from the inside. That's why the system loves to keep us cold, distant, disconnected, because a man who don't trust nobody can't build nothing real. But the ones who do, the ones who love, who lead, who live, they change everything. So if you got a brother, hold him down. If you see him struggling, reach out. If he losing faith, remind him of his word. That's the real definition of strength. Not standing alone, but standing with. We don't need to be harder, we need to be closer. We don't need more pride, we need more peace. At the end of the day, brotherhood ain't about perfection, it's about presence. It's knowing that no matter how rough life gets, you ain't walking through it by yourself. Because when men move with unity and love again, the void that's been eating at us starts to fade. And that's when we rise together the way it was always meant to be. There comes a point when a man gets tired of running from himself, tired of the noise, the pretending, the numbness. You can only carry pain for so long before it starts carrying you. That's when something shifts. When you finally realize that the love you've been chasing from the world, from women, from validation, was never gonna fill what's missing inside. That's when the rebirth begins. Not when life gets easy, but when you decide you ain't living empty no more. Self-love ain't no soft concept. It's not candles and quotes. It's hard work. It's waking up and facing your reflection after years of ignoring it. It's calling yourself out on the lies you tell to keep from feeling weak. It's sitting in silence long enough to hear your own thoughts again. That's the part most men avoid, because self-love means accountability. It means taking responsibility for your healing instead of blaming the world for your pain. When a man gives up on love, he starts to fade. He moves through life disconnected, chasing purpose, but not peace. He builds empires with no foundation, wins battles that don't even matter. But when he starts loving himself again, everything shifts. His decisions start coming from clarity, not trauma, because confidence stops being performance and becomes presence. He stops chasing what leaves and starts nurturing what stays. The real journey ain't about proving your worth, it's about remembering. The world gonna tell you that you gotta earn love, that you gotta look a certain way, have a certain status, move with a certain image. But real self-love don't come from outside approval. It comes from accepting your scars, your flaws, your lessons. It comes from knowing you can be broken and still be valuable. You can't find peace in people if you ain't found it in yourself. Because when you don't know your worth, you settle for energy that drains you. You tolerate disrespect disguised as affection. You confuse attachment with love. But when you start loving yourself for real, your standards change naturally. You stop begging for love and start becoming it. You stop needing validation and start valuing peace. And that's when you start seeing life different. You stop rushing, you stop forcing, you start understanding that everything meant for you moves at the same frequency as your growth. You learn that rejection ain't loss, it's redirection. That heartbreak ain't punishment, it's purification. You start trusting life again, not because it's perfect, but because you finally see your part in it. Self-love teaches discipline. It teaches patience. It teaches respect, not just for others, but for your own energy. You stop giving your time to things that don't feed your spirit. You stop explaining your worth to people who ain't even trying to understand it. You start creating instead of competing. You start walking away from chaos without needing to prove your point. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Rebirth don't come easy. You gotta unlearn everything the pain taught you. You gotta forgive people who never say sorry. You gotta let go of moments you replayed 1,000 times in your head. But every time you choose peace over pride, healing over hurt, you reclaim another piece of your soul. That's how you rise, not fast, but firm. When a man truly loves himself, he becomes unstoppable. And not because he's above anyone, but because he's finally aligned. His moves get quieter, his energy gets cleaner. He attracts what he used to chase. He don't need to prove love anymore, he lives it. He gives it. And that's what draws real people, real opportunities, real peace. See, the world don't change when you love yourself. You do. And when you do, your world follows. You start seeing beauty and simplicity, gratitude and struggle, strength and vulnerability. You stop running from love and start standing in it, even when it's just you. That's the rebirth. Not some loud transformation, but a silent awakening. The moment you stop being your own enemy and start being your own home. The day you realize you've been enough this whole time. You just forgot. From that point on, you move different, not out of pain, but out of purpose. You talk less, love deeper, walk lighter. You don't need the world to fill you because you're already full. And that's when you know you've been reborn, not into someone new, but into who you were always meant to be.